Hi, Dust. Dusty is like in a very relaxation mood, which is
Hi,
nice.
Dusty. Hi, Dust.
Isn't that a nice face? So today we're gonna get our little focus on relaxation in. I'm not gonna touch him as much as I would because I'm gonna touch my face. Sorry, baby. He's fine. Um, Basically, to begin, I want to definitely ground in with some breath work. We are going to clear some lymphatic, and then we're going to do some fun little focus on really simple stretches. If you're feeling any pain in the knees, let me know as we get into it. They should be pretty light. And if you have the ability on like a yoga mat or anything, when we get to that point, you can always roll it over to thicken the weight underneath the knee. But definitely, if at any point you have any questions or something feels weird, I want to say, first of all, definitely stay within your healthy range, what feels good to you. And on top of that, feel free to ask me a question at any time. We are going to do frozen spoons today at the end of class for anyone who is interested. So if you want to pop your spoons in the freezer, Alex, I don't think you've ever got to do frozen spoons yet. No, okay. Well, when you get back.
One
And
time.
what was that?
One time I did it.
One time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was too scared to put them in the freezer. I just put them in the fridge and I regretted it. I was like, I should have froze them.
It's definitely it's definitely cold at the
Feels
first
pretty cold
moment.
very long.
Yeah, it warms up pretty quick, but definitely the first one you did. Before we get started too, last night Eric had little puffy eyes, and I thought it was like a really fun moment for me to like experiment on him because I love showing him how great the things are. He was just little puffy eyes. We went out to the desert, and I did 2 minutes, maybe three. I took before and after pictures, and it was like day and night, and I was like, wow, okay, if it looks that good on that puffy, I can only imagine what great work it's doing for all of us who are like, feeling rejuvenated at the end of class. Let's see. I feel like I had something else to say, but let's get into it because if I remember, I'll remember, and if not, I will. So go ahead and take a nice, comfortable seated position. If you want, you can always be laying down. We are going to just do a little breath work to get going. Thank you for taking time out of your Sunday to join me and to be with me in this group today. We're going to begin by just letting our eyes flutter to close, feeling the weight of your body pulling you down towards the ground. And in your third eye, with the eyes closed, imagine a little orb of light glowing in front of you. And as we focus on this light, think of positive affirmations you can put in this orb, places you like to go, people you love to see, how it feels to be hugged by someone you love. And with each thought, that glowing orb will grow. Taking a nice deep breath in, down to the belly, letting the chest fill up secondary, but letting the belly, the diaphragm, fill with air. On every inhale, we're putting more light into the orb, and on the exhales, just beginning to come into the body and notice the weight of our sits bones, your back, your shoulders, the gravitational pull that keeps us grounded on earth. Now for this next breath, go ahead and bring one hand onto your belly, whichever hand you prefer. And imagine on your inhale, the light is coming into your crown, so filling the top of your head down to your chin. And on the exhale, we're going to breathe out smoky, any type of negativity or tension we're holding on. And on your next inhale, we're going to bring the glowing orb down into our throat. So now we're beginning to fill with light, head, ears, chin, and throat. And on your exhale, pushing out any negativity as this dark, smoky visualization. And we're going to continue our way down the body on your inhale. Breathing into our belly, but just bringing the light down to our chest now. Feeling your heart be warmed by the light of that orb. And on the exhale, pushing out any tension from the shoulders, the neck. Inhaling down into the belly, feeling the rib cage open, filling with light, warmth down into the lungs. Exhale, letting the arms become heavier, breathing out any negativity or tension, letting that smoke go away and disappear, eaten up by the light in front of us. Breathing in the positive golden light down into our root, feeling it fill our pelvis, hips, all warmed by the sunlight of the orb of all the hugs and love and things we love to taste. Exhaling, letting the smoke dissolve around you. Inhaling the breath all the way down into our knees, sending that warmth to the joints of our knees, warming up where it might get a little tense and sore. Exhaling, smoke emanating out of the body, beginning to feel very light, very positive. On our next breath, breathing the light all the way down to the tips of our toes, soles of our feet. We are now completely full of light, opportunity for the week, gratitude for everything that's happened in the past weeks and months, and breathing out the little bits of tension and bad experiences or frustrations of the past few hours, days, weeks. Remembering that every negative experience only sheds light on all of the beauty and positive experiences that create the bounty of joy in our lives. Begin to let the orb shrink down in front of you, knowing that you've brought all of the good healing energy from it into our body. You are the light. From here on forward, you're an embodiment of all of the beautiful places you love to go, things you love to do, one of which being stretching and moving and self-massage. Let your eyes flutter open. Take a moment to look around your surroundings, reorient yourself. If you have your serum or lotion that you feel comfortable using on your face around you, you can go ahead and grab that now. I'm going to do a pump or two into my hands. And as we love to do, we're going to clear our terminus. So I'm making a little space here. And just gently, I'm not sure if I said this in the last class, I know I've been going over it. We're going, just find your collarbone, so the little clavicle bone here, and it's the space right above it where the subclavian vein and the jugular are processing all of the lymph fluid, and we're just pulling lightly down from our neck towards that collarbone, and then pressing the fingers gently towards each other and releasing. Going light enough to where we don't feel like we're choking ourselves. Not too deep that you feel so much muscle moving underneath. If you do feel a little, that's totally fine because there's not a lot of fatty tissue here. And just preparing for all of the great clearing that we're going to be doing over the next hour. Nice deep breaths. Still sending the breath down to the seat, down to the heels of the feet. Two more deep breaths, continuing to clear that terminus here. Perfect. Bringing our hands to a nice little prayer in front of us. Let's get some of that serum on the hands. Now I'm just going to lightly tap around my face to bring some of the serum onto my jawline. Let me know if the birds are bothering anyone because I can close the doors, but it's a little tropical jungle over here. Now just with my thumbs and the hook of my index finger, I'm going to pinch along my jaw and just keep pinching back towards my ear, letting the hook of my finger run down the line of my jaw, and then starting back at the beginning. So we're just taking the hook around the little point of our jaw, not pulling the lymph back, you know, so we're just going to keep spreading here, giving ourselves a little massage around the jawline. And our thumb is pressing nice into that jawline, so we are creating a nice little pinch here. Now bringing our hands to that shout, we're going to let the thumbs rest on the chin, the seam of our fingers coming alongside the nose and the cheek, and just pulling open and away, and ending with my ear kind of in that little notch. I'm going to bring my thumb and my finger pinching again. I'm going to just do the line underneath my cheekbone. So I'm going to just give myself little cheek pinches, and what I'm really doing is pressing my thumb under that bone and then letting the top of my finger just create a little pressure. Bring some nice blood flow along this jawbone. Fingers chasing fingers, activating that third eye. This is a very calming stroke here. And now we're going to find our drilling bamboo spot. So I'm going to bring my thumb right into the notches where the line of my nose meets the bridge of my eyebrows. And when you find that little notch, we're just going to hang out with a little thumb pressure right there. Coming back to our breath. Remembering to fill our bellies with oxygen, and on the exhale, getting all that old carbon dioxide out into the earth. It's our little plant food breath. We breathe in all the good stuff for us, and we send out all the icky stuff that the plants love to eat. And we're going to go ahead and pinch along the line of the eyebrow, keeping my thumb into the arch of the socket of the eye, so I'm not pressing into my eyeballs, but just using the hook of my finger to pull my eyebrow over the thumb, giving it a nice little massage-y. And now from here, I'm going to go ahead and bring the heel of my hands together, and I'm going to work my way from my chin all the way up to my forehead, starting together and just pulling out and away. Including my lips this time, coming together over my nose, getting into the eyebrows, going for the forehead. From here, let's go ahead and take our two fingers crossed over. So I have my index finger and my middle finger behind it. We're going to go on either side of the nostril, pressing up and in. Nice deep breath in. This point is called welcoming perfume. Great for sinuses in this little springtime. Also just feels really good to get lots of air in. I'm going to invite us to bring our fingertips up to our temples, doing little circles here, and after every circle or two, we're just going to bring our fingers slightly apart as we work our way back the skull. The focus here is on what feels good. So if you find a spot, you have so much tension, you can just hang out there. Coming back. And we're digging in, you know, we're not just ruffling the hair around, which is good too, but we're activating the fascia in the scalp, bringing some blood flow here. Especially we have all of us ladies, our little ponytails can pull, and a lot of the scalp can get pretty tight. And that can affect definitely spending some time along the line of your natural part here. A lot of great points to activate. You can do little circles, little scrubbies. Bringing our thumbs right into the hollows under the skull. So you'll feel the little points back here. And we're just going to press in and let our hands just grip our head to create a little bit of more pressure. So we're just pressing, not really the hollows here now that I'm feeling, we're really just feeling right beneath the little points of the back of the skull. You'll feel it, you'll know it when you feel it. We're just doing nice little circle massaging here, so letting the hands come into full circles and maintaining that pressure on the bottom of the skull. A bunch of little baby muscles attach in here. Beautiful. Bringing our peace fingers in front and behind the ear. We're just going to do some little pumps here. So I'm pushing up and back. You might feel some little pressure spots in this little region or up right in front of the seam of the ear. We're moving some stagnation around here, really getting our body into that parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. Coming up into our ear massage, I'm just bringing my thumb to the seam of the ear and using the rest of my fingers to pull and massage the ear over the thumb. Working my way top to bottom, but you can explore with what feels good for your ears. Giving them a little tug as I pull away. I'm going to do a couple rounds of this, really warming this up. And don't be afraid to let your fingers run over all the cartilaginous spots inside the ear. It's nice on the low, but you can really let just like your finger, the hook there, stimulate the nerves of the ear. Really important for relaxation as well. Letting our hands cross in front of our necks. Encouraging all of the lymph that we just cleared from the face and the scalp down into that nice open terminus. Bringing the fingertips to meet behind the neck. You're going to feel for the top vertebra. And when you find that spot, just let the fingertips fall off the bone. You'll be in some nice ropey, meaty meat. And we're just going to let the weight of our elbows falling towards the front of the room give us a little massage along the length of the muscle. And every time we come back, we're tracking one little vertebra down and off to the side. So you can explore and find some areas. Little information tidbit moment. If you're not interested in anatomy, just keep doing this and tune me out. But basically, the muscles that lift our shoulders, they attach and wrap around each other into each of these vertebrae. And so this is a big reason why these can get really tensed up and tight. There's a lot going on, and they're like intertangling and intertwining as a natural function of the body. Let's go ahead and pinch our trapezius. So this little shoulder muscle here that we can see, I'm just going to take my thumbs and press into the front of it, making sure that I'm not pinching a nerve. You would know that if you're feeling like a shooting pain. You just want to move your way a little bit back. Most of us have some good tension here, so you'll know you're in the muscle. And we're just going to hook our thumb in and let the fingers grip on the back. And let's ride the line of the traps. They try to sneak away from you as the arms come down. That's totally fine. And we're really just bringing our fingertips down into that muscle, letting the thumb pinch. Let our hands come back to our knees. Okay, Des, come up on the bed. Come on. Silly boy. All right, we're gonna let our hands come to our knees here. And we're gonna stretch out our little armies in a fun way. So coming to a comfortable seat, do whatever you like with your legs to be comfy. And we're just gonna let our arms fall to the side of our bodies. You might feel a little stretch just in this point already. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna circle the wrists. And every circle, we're just gonna be bringing our arms up until they come to a nice meet. And this one we're really exploring, like we're not cheating just a little circle. We're really taking our time moving the arms, supinating the arm is what this is called, to find sticky parts that we can open up. Feels like a wave, kind of. We're just creating movement through the space of the range of our arms and reaching. This one's really a self-exploration one. Reaching up, circling the wrists, and then on the way down we can change the circle of the wrist and really reaching away from ourselves to create that space. You can play around with moving your shoulders in little circles until we find our hands back on the ground. We're gonna do another round just like that. Yeah, it's fun. You can really start to feel some stuff out. So now that we have the idea, you can really do some fun stuff as you work your way forward, whether you wanna rotate back and forth, letting the arms come in, the whole chest collapses and expands. This is whatever feels good in your body. You can even bring the arms bent and do it with bent arms if you're feeling any type of tingling out there. We're opening up, bringing blood flow in between every rib, and bringing my way back down. I'm going to reach again, give myself a little pull. Letting my arms fall to the side of my hips. Taking a nice deep breath in. Exhale, letting the chin fall to the chest. Nice breath here. And we're going to let our shoulders shrug to our ears on an inhale. And exhale, relax, letting the arms be heavy. Inhale, shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, arms pulling down towards the ground. And one more time, shoulders pulling up, squeezing back, shoulder blades tugging towards each other. Exhale, letting the arms fall to their natural home. Go ahead, let's clasp, intertwine our fingers behind our head here. And we love this little stretchy. We're going to be taking a nice deep breath in, opening the chest, looking towards the ceiling, supporting the head with our hands. And on the exhale, pushing all the air out of the lungs, letting the elbows pull towards each other as our chin gently pulls towards the chest. And on your own inhale, opening back up. Sending the breath to the belly, to the ribs, to the chest, letting the arms pull away from each other. Shoulders are pressing in towards each other. And on the exhale, shoulders coming away from each other. Elbows pulling in towards each other. Chin tucks. One more time, just like that. Nice inhale. It's fun when we open our chest, we're strengthening our back muscles. And on the exhale, we're contracting the chest and lengthening the back. Gently coming up to neutral spine. Letting the arms come down to our side. For this next one, I'm going to show you, you can stay in your position, but we're just going to clasp the fingers behind the back from your seated position, whatever's comfortable. On the inhale, we're going to gently, by activating the pull of the hands, begin to let our back muscles contract, opening up space in the chest, letting our shoulders support the head as we look up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, we're letting everything roll forward. Shoulders pull towards each other in the front of our bodies. And when you're ready for new breath, inhaling, letting the hands pull back and away. Exhaling, nice collapse, feeling the new space in the neck. One more time. Hands pulling on each other, arms stretching out back. Shoulders rotating away from each other. And on the exhale, coming back to neutral, letting the clasp of the hands flop. Bring your hands back to your side. Let's orient ourselves back into the space. You can do a little shake if it feels good. We created a lot more space than we were working with before, so you might notice the arms just fall back into this like natural home, and all of a sudden you have more room here. What I want to do here is we're going to be using our core, our chest and our head, hands on our knees, and we're just going to begin doing these full body circles. They can be as small as you want when you start, but inviting you to begin rolling all along your seat. Nice little around the worlds. Feeling how your obliques and your external abdominals and the internal abdominals and the psoas, how it all kind of comes together here. And when you're ready, reverse, taking our circles the other direction, pulling our chest through on the front. Really feeling how all these muscles are attaching into the ribs, and how when we create space, there's more room for the lungs to expand here. 2 more circles in that direction. And coming back into our center. Let's go ahead and take our serum. We're going to give ourselves a little hand love today before we move into our lower body. I'm just taking 1 pump all over the hands. And what I want to do to start is we're going to interlace the fingers how we just did. And let's go ahead and flip the palms so they're facing away from us. And just extend and release. Extend, pushing the palms away from me. Release. One more time, we're going to extend out here. And then nice, bring it up overhead. Nice breath in and out here. Pulling, pushing the palms away. And on the next exhale, let's bring the hands back down in front of us. letting our palms face down towards the floor. I'm just going to use one hand or the other to create this motion. And what I'm doing right here is I'm using my top hand, lightly, gently pressing back, and the fingers of this hand are supporting at the wrist to open the palm. So I'm pushing and supporting and letting the fingers spread. And then I'm going to flip to the other side. So these fingers are interlacing. They're pushing back on the hand, and then they are supporting right here, so we're not putting strain on the paw, on the wrist. And just letting all of this meaty stuff take a nice little opening. Oh yeah, you can even bring your thumb and run along the ridges, and you might feel some good pressure there as well. We're going to get into that too, but this is kind of a nice way to double that up. I haven't felt that before. On myself, I do this on other people, so there you go. Beautiful, bringing the wrists, little circles. What we're going to do here is we're just going to, I'm going to explain it to you this way. So you're going to use this hand to grip the pinky, and what you're going to do is use your thumb just pressing down along that line. We're going to do just 3 presses and a pull and snap. And then grabbing the other finger. My hand is really taut because I'm trying to show you, but you can let this hand be as flimsy as you can get it. So I'm holding, pushing down the line of all those tendons. 3 pushes, and then a nice pull. You can do a little circle, a little vibrate, and snap off the end. Really feels good, that pressure on the fingertip when you let it snap off. And let's work our way through all of these fingers. 3 presses down the pad of the hand. Nice little snap off. And this is always like we're setting the foundation for great little self-care tools you can use. We're moving through it, but if you love this, you can spend, I won't really be able to demonstrate this, but basically this is a really big one. This little hypothenar is what this area is called. It's basically our thumb pad. Dig into there, give a nice little pull and circle, a little snap off the end, a little shaky, feel the weight of the hand, and we're going to switch to the other side. So again, the hand is coming behind the finger, circling around. That's stabilizing the hand there, the finger there. 3 little pushes through all that meaty, chunky connective tissue, little circle and snap. Little circles and snap. Probably guessing it's like all the nerve endings or like the way the circulation is, but that snap off the tip of the finger when you get like a good grip on the nail bed, it feels so good to me. And you can do, like, don't be afraid of the pressure here, of course. Especially in this little hypothenar area. You're using your thumb. Yeah, there we go. It's fun orienting how to teach it because the camera kind of flips around. Beautiful. That feels great. I'm so happy that we did that. And let's go ahead and bring ourselves onto all 4s. We're going to get into those cat-cows that I love, where we are going to be switching the focus. We're going to do a couple rounds. The first round, I really want to focus on bringing all of the air and space between my shoulders. The second will be opening up the space between my ribs. And the final round will be my hips, the sacrum pulling away from itself. So I'm imagining my shoulder blades pulling away and crunching, my ribs pulling open and crunching. And then for the sacrum, we imagine that we have a tight belt on, and if we just stretch, it'll pop off. So find our nice comfortable position. If this is uncomfortable on your wrists, come into little fists here, totally works. And if that's uncomfortable as well, I think you could also bring it down to the forearms. A little tougher, not as much space, but these little fists are great. I'm going to come to my hands here. And for a practice one, we're just going to take a nice deep breath in, letting the hips curve, the back looking up, all that open space. And for the exhale, we're just practicing pushing all that oxygen out, crunching the abdominals, tucking the pelvis. Arms are pushing up. I'm pushing myself away from the floor. Back to neutral. So now we've got a feel for that. We're going to focus on our chest. Nice deep breath in, letting the back curve, feeling the space between our shoulders. Really feeling my throat open. And on the exhale, my shoulder blades are pulling away from each other. When you feel like you got to the bottom of your breath, push a little bit more out. And when you're ready for your next inhale, let the belly fall towards the floor. Hips pulling back towards the head like you want your low back and your head to touch within the range that's comfortable for you. Exhaling, my rib cage is going to pull away from each other across the spine. Really focusing on the thoracic, my torso, pushing the air out of my lungs. Inhaling, let the belly get soft, pull towards the floor like someone has a string pulling you down the middle. And on our final exhale, we've got a tight belt on. We're trying to pop in the back, pop the seam, really sending some air and space back there. Nice inhale coming to a neutral space. From here, we're going to give our forearms a little love. I'm going to face you. I'm going to bring my left arm down to my forearm. So I've got a little pop here. And I'm going to use my right arm to just press. Can you see that? Let's see. I'm just pressing. So your arm will be down on the floor. But I'm essentially pressing. And you could use your elbow if you really find a spot, but just that gentle rolling pin, ironing motion along all this meaty forearm stuff that's so responsible for a lot of movement in our hands and arms. So you can work your way up and down in this way. I roll my arm over. You can do a little sawing motion. If you use this blade of the arm here, you're going to get a little bit more pressure. The underbelly of the arm's got a little bit more squish to it, which you'll feel. You can go nice and gentle around the wrist. And then just flip that arm there. And now we're going to work on the underbelly of the arm. Same thing. Ironing, rolling, circles. Coming back up onto all fours. And now switching the arm that we have down. Top of the forearm is going to be facing up. You can let the weight of your body can just go into that elbow there, so you're really just creating a little, like a three-legged stool. And then using whatever pressure and weight you want to send into the left arm, just pressing, rolling, circles, sawing, whatever feels good. Gentle, soft part of the arm over the wrist bones. And working our way back up towards the arch of the elbow. And if you do find a little spot, especially up in here where this can get chunky, you can bring the point of the elbow. This will be easier if your arm's on the floor. And you can flex and extend the arm to increase the pressure of that angle. This is another great one for exploration. and I'm flipping that forearm, so now this little meaty soft side is facing up towards me. Weight is still coming into this angle of the arm. And I'm rolling and sawing my way. I'm sure you guys are noticing too. As you move up and down this underside of the forearm, your fingers will naturally kind of wave or tuck. You're like, oh, hi. Beautiful. Bringing ourselves back onto all fours. We're going to find our way into a little wide-legged down dog. So you can go as wide as you like. If this is a lot of weight for you, you can come down to the forearms. I don't love that, but if you do, go for it. And my legs are away from each other. I've got some nice bends here. And all I'm going to do is just send my hips up, legs straightening, and letting my, so where I am at my toes, here, let me find a better way to show you. So I'm up on my toes, and then as I bend, I'm coming down to plant my heel to the ground. So you'll feel, as we pull up, we're creating a stretch here, coming up on the toes, and as we release and press, we're relaxing a little bit of the stretch here, but we're really stretching this tibialis anterior, the soleus, the gastroc, the calf muscles basically, and we're bending our butts down, lengthening up, bending down. When we come up onto our toes on this one, let's just play around with tapping our heels down to the ground. Rocking back towards the hips, up on the toes or more over our hands. We're really expanding and releasing. Play with what feels good here. And now bring those feet wider than mat width apart. And I'm going to bend my left knee and creating length along the inside of the right leg. And just trading off back and forth. Again, playing with the position of my hips. My hands are just stabilizing. Feeling in. If it's tight here, I'm going to let it come forward and see if that increases the stretch or decreases. I can press back, sending my bottom right behind me, and see if I feel it a little bit deeper into the hamstring on either side. I'm going to do a couple facing you, see if that helps too. But basically, just playing with the angle and creating space on my time. You can play with where your hands are too. You can walk your hands to one side and pull the hips away from you. We all know more about our body than any professional healthcare fighter, anybody could learn, because you're with yourself 24 hours a day. So while that outside counsel is very, very helpful when needed, it's super important that we all pay attention to what we're feeling in our body so we can notice when something changes or something weird is up. Taking ownership and pride of this little vessel. Bringing ourselves back down to our knees. From here, I'm going to bring my left knee closer to my hands and just let my right leg straighten out behind me. So super simple. All fours, knee tucks up, and then the other leg extends. And the leg that just extended, you should feel some nice lengthening down that front side. I'll show you here. Down this front side, you should be feeling that. Beth, I hope this is a good one too for that area that you were tight. I still have to send you that video for those stretches we went over. And now, fun thing, making sure, okay, so if you're here and you're not feeling much of a stretch, a really simple thing to check in is tuck your pelvis like you want to squeeze a little quarter between your butt cheeks. And that should really turn that stretch on. So if you're here and you're like, oh, I kind of feel a little opening, but if you tuck under, just simply engaging the core, that's going to really create that space that we want. It's not a beautiful way for me to show this stretch from this position. But now that we're in this little space, what we're going to play around with is letting the hips sink to the right. So my leg that's extended, I'm putting some more of the weight onto the right side of the body. Play with sending it to the left. Oops. All with that leg extended in that same position. And you can kind of rock, think right hips, left bottom, right hips, left bottom. And that's what we're thinking of, what's touching, getting closer to the floor angle. I'm going to switch my legs. So now I just pulled my right knee up and I'm kicking my left leg back. Making sure that I'm engaging my core, tucking my pelvis. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. We're not trying to break a sweat, but we're protecting our spine and just creating the stretch. So instead of having to go into some crazy contortion to feel a stretch, we can just boop, pop on the core and the glutes, squeeze our little quarter, and find some space. Explore, play with tilting your hips left to right. I like this as an alternative to pigeon pose sometimes too, because I have like inflammation in my knees that I'm always kind of working on and exploring. But I don't feel pressure here. So I imagine if it's true for me, it's probably true for a lot of people. This is a fun one. Just creating that space. I'm really feeling opening all the way through these deep abdominals. Probably some good opening in that psoas. And then when I tip to the right, I feel it up and around that tight area of the low back and the glutes. So that glute minimus that we don't get a ton of action on. QL attachments in there too. Bringing yourselves back to all fours. And I'm going to use, my hands are pulling in towards each other. So I'm creating tension in that direction. And I'm going to let the weight of my hips pull me down and away from my hands. They're still pressing into the ground, pressing in towards each other. I'm going to give myself a little more space. And we're going to let's do 5 reps of those. So we're not just letting the arms be like kind of limp here. We want to create that space, which is again going to really activate the stretch for us. I feel like it's getting more for our money, you know? A little more bang for the buck just by lightly engaging the muscles in the arm. I'm feeling the stretch all the way through my torso, through my rotator cuff, down through my biceps. And letting your breath happen naturally. If you want to take 3 breaths to get your hips back towards your feet, great. And when I pull up, I'm using the heels of my hands to create that pressure to pull me up. And now coming down to my elbows. And my hands are kind of doing this, but they can just be straight goal posted as well. And we're going to do the same motion with our hips. Let me move up here. I like to hold the hands just because it gives me a little bit more stability. I'm going to do about 5 to 10 of these, whatever works for you. Keeping my abdominals engaged. The elbows are pulling towards my knees and the knees are pulling towards my elbows. So it's kind of like as if I was trying to pull myself into a ball, but the traction of the mat is keeping me stable. when you get to the bottom, you can really feel some of this. I think for me, I feel my lats where they pull on the side, little tearies for sure. Just the opening from the under the shoulders that we don't think about so much on how it affects our neck and our chest and our low back for that matter. Perfect. Bringing ourselves back to all fours, finding our way to a nice comfortable seat. Let's go ahead and grab our little cold spoonies. If you don't have cold spoons, let's grab our little hands, blow cold on them. Awesome. So we've got our little cold spoons. We can, if we want, if you're using your fingers, you just, boop, your hands are the spoons. We're going to take the circular, the little base side of our spoons, and that's what's going to be working on our skin. So just pressing right up underneath the eyes where we get our little puff circles if we don't get enough sleep or enough water. Giving it a second. I'm going to slowly ride this line, because I didn't do this morning, and I usually do it in the mornings. So I'm going to really take my time pulling up and away. And do 3 of those. Playing around with how much pressure feels good here. I'm going to spoon, chase a spoon, my third eye. I'm going to take that little chubby base of the spoon and really press it into that area that we called drilling bamboo before. And I'm going to put nice pressure onto the ridge of my eyebrow. I know I always say this, I'm a big eyebrow furrower. So this is so important to me, pulling up and towards the temple. I'm going to do 3 of those. And I'm kind of giving it a little upward press, so I'm not pushing down into it, which would be, I'm sure, mostly fine anyways, but just for the lymphatic purpose, we like to go up and away always. I can feel such a difference between the first and the third pass always. I love that. Bringing ourselves down to either side of the nostril. What would usually be that welcoming perfume, we're going to give a second there, but then just ride the spoon along the bone of our cheekbone. 3 of those. Do a little circle, little scrubbies. That part where the cheekbone comes to the jaw, comes to the ear. Gets nice and tight on me. I'm going to give it little circles. I'm going to do the lips. I'm scooping out and riding back. Scooping out and riding back with a nice little glide. I know I tell you guys every week, these little lines on me, those are the ones I'm in a lymph battle. Under my lip. Feels great. And I'm gonna ride the line of my jaw. This makes me so happy. And I'm going to go down the sides of my neck. Honestly, can't imagine how lonely I would feel if I didn't have all of you. Such special, like, beautiful women, especially. Sorry if there's any guys that checked in. I love you as well. I just don't see you right now. But I feel just so lucky. I'm going to clear my terminus. We don't always have to do it at the beginning and the end, but, you know, we can, so we will. Because I know people are feeling so lonely, and I'm like, well, yeah, it would be hard to take an hour of time for myself. Maybe not hard for me, but hard for probably a lot of people. And I would probably skimp. I'd probably do 30 minutes. But because all of you come and check in, I'm like, okay, we're all in this together. We've all decided that it's Sunday at 6, and like we're deserving of like some good feeling. I'm gonna do little circles on my ears. I set those there. Give our bodies a little shaky shake. And what I want to do, you guys are all muted, but you can pretend that you're not, or just enjoy that you are. I'm going to do 3 nice deep breaths in. I'm going to shoot the breath all the way down. Head, neck, hips, knees, feet. And on the exhale, I'm just going to audibly sigh. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be totally representative of how you feel. I just love sighing, and I did a lot of research trying to find out why sighing feels so good. And I like couldn't find anything, so I have to become a doctor to figure that out apparently, and then I'll write an online article. But basically, nice deep breath in. I sigh all day long. Sometimes it's a light one, sometimes it's a little heavy one. I don't have a lot of ick to get out, but in case, I got one more. And I think that's probably a really good space to get in for a little close to last week. Open my portal to next week. Crawl through it. I'm happy that you all came and joined me. I really respect and appreciate how much love and attention it takes to put it into yourself, because I know for me, when I was going to classes, there was plenty of times when I would show up to class and like find parking and sit in my car and just drive home. That was like in the past, because I just couldn't get myself out of the headspace to center and ground. And now that I've learned all of these tools, I'm like so excited that I have them in my tool belt, because it was always like, oh, the other person has it, I have to go get it from them. But I hope with all of these classes, I explained it enough to where you can put it into your little pocket and pull it out when needed, and then it just amplifies the bounty and benefit of it, that we get to do it together. And that's pretty much my little bit. If anyone has anything they want to share or say or whatever, we're all here together, and I love and appreciate you all, so I'm here to listen. And if not, I hope you have a great rest of your night.